Welcome in to the Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. On today's show, we'll catch up to speed with the latest Baltimore Ravens news and rumors, those surrounding Rashod Bateman, as well as the Ravens offensive line and more. But before we get to that, some unfortunate news this week. The passing of the great Baltimore Raven, Tony Siragusa, who also worked for the NFL on Fox for several years as well, known as Goose. What a legend he was, and we want to take some time to honor Goose and type Goose in the comments section just to show him some love and remember his great legacy. We certainly did not want to forget about Tony Siragusa to open up today's show, so go ahead and type Goose in the comments to show some love to Tony Siragusa. So we begin today's show by looking at the Ravens offensive line, as it's been an area of concern of sorts with the injury to Ronnie Stanley, the 7-year veteran who spent all 7 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens, a 2019 All-Pro player, is still recovering right now. And when you look at this Ravens depth chart, you can see there's some good options there with Tyler Linderbaum, of course, the rookie first-round selection leading the way at that center position. And now you see, you go into the depth. What does this team do from here if Ronnie Stanley is not quite ready to go? And the timetable of sorts, we're all kind of playing the waiting game at this point, right? Well, the good news for the Ravens, at least with John Harbaugh, the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens anyway, is that he doesn't seem too concerned right now. When Baltimore Ravens head coach John Harbaugh was asked about some of the offensive tackles, how they have looked, he expressed confidence in the position. Here's what he said. That's exactly the silver lining. We've got 2 veteran guys. We have a young guy in Daniel Faalele who has looked good. He's a young kid. He's a big man. I saw some of the stuff about you guys talking about him getting in shape, and yes, he's working his way into kind of NFL-type conditioning as a tackle. And then we get into a little bit of a word salad here with John Harbaugh, but that's, man, he's almost, what is he? I don't know. I do know, but he's up there, and it's good weight. So he's going to learn how to play at this level, at this speed. I'm certain of that. And then Jared Jones-Smith is doing a really nice job. So we've got 5 good tackles, I feel like, there, and then with Ronnie Stanley in there as well. So John Harbaugh doesn't seem to be too concerned. Now, we knew that Daniel Faalele would be a project, that this was not going to be overnight. But it sounds like that he has won over the confidence of the coaching staff there in Baltimore. So that's a good sign there as well. It's good to have him there. It's good to have Patrick Mekari as well as Jawan James on this team. I mean, it's a good group there when you look at where this offensive line is at, and that's why I feel what John Harbaugh is talking about here of why he is not concerned right now with Ronnie Stanley's injury at this point, because you have depth there that you maybe didn't have necessarily before. So some good confidence there, good words from John Harbaugh. I don't think that's just coach speech there. I think he actually believes what he's talking about on that front. Want to hear from you guys, though. What's the confidence level in the Ravens offensive line? If you had to scale it from 1 to 100, let me know in the comments section. Put a number on it, 1, 2, 50, 75, 100. Give me one number that you would rate this confidence level of the Ravens offensive line where it's at right now. It's our pinned comment today. You're about to get an ad break. Take advantage of it while that ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let me know. Put a number on it, your confidence level in the Baltimore Ravens offensive line. Moving on now. Isaiah Likely, one of the Ravens selections in this year's draft, a 4th-round pick, received some high praise this week from Bleacher Report. And he came out of Coastal Carolina, a very good player there, one of 2 tight ends that the Ravens selected in this year's draft, along with Charlie Kolar as well from Iowa State. Here is what the folks at Bleacher Report had to say about Likely. The Baltimore Ravens are in need of pass-catching threats, and they may have found one in 4th-round pick Isaiah Likely. The tight end stood out in OTAs, by making several plays, according to The Athletic's Jeff Zerbick, who later noted the 6'4", 235-pound Likely already has a fan in Jackson. The fact that Likely, who played nearly half of his snaps in the slot in 2021 per Pro Football Focus, developed a quick chemistry with Jackson could point to significant contributions. Likely was the second tight end the team drafted. Charlie Kolar was taken at number 128 in the fourth round. However, it's the Coastal Carolina product who looks like he could be a steal. So more on this in just a second, but before we do, got to tell you about a great deal that we are offering just for viewers of the Ravens Rundown. It is a T-shirt combination. You can see in both purple and white. And the best part about it, 40% off right now while supplies last. Get yours today at chatsports.com/ballcombo. That's chatsports.com/ballcombo, so you can be looking good. You need T-shirts this time of year. It is hot outside, folks, and you'd be stylish wearing this to the games as well this football season. So go ahead and get yours now while supplies last. 40% off, chatsports.com/ballcombo. Now, look, the Ravens love their tight ends, and rightfully so. You know, you look at this depth chart, and there's not a tight end room in the National Football League like what we see in Baltimore. Mark Andrews, a perennial Pro Bowl tight end. Nick Boyle, a good number 2 tight end. And then beyond that, Charlie Kolar and Isaiah Likely. There's reason to be excited about both those guys. I like Charlie Kolar a little bit more than I do Likely. That's not a knock on Likely at all. To me, Charlie Kolar was my favorite tight end in this draft. He was terrific out of Iowa State. He reminds me a lot of Mark Andrews, quite frankly. But this is fascinating to me, a team that has 3 or 4 capable tight ends. We just don't talk about that very often in the National Football League. I'm very curious. What is Greg Roman going to be able to dial up with this type of personnel group, with this many tight ends that are flexible like that? Now, you can line up Charlie Kolar and Mark Andrews like you would wide receivers. Are they essentially wide receivers that also can block in that regard? I'm curious to see what type of roles you find for these guys, their impacts on the receiving game as well as being blockers too. It's going to be fascinating to watch, and the Ravens have done a terrific job putting this tight end room together. With that said, want to know, if you had to pick a tight end between these two, Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar, let me know. Now, I'll say this. There is not a wrong answer. If you like Isaiah Likely more than Charlie Kolar, that's fine. If you like Charlie Kolar a little bit more like I do, that's okay too. But let me know in the comment section below either way. CK for Charlie Kolar, IL for Isaiah Likely. Get your votes in now. All right, Rashod Bateman. I feel like I've done this story a few times on this channel. He has been named again by somebody as a breakout candidate for 2022. This time, Bleacher Report said this about Rashod Bateman. Now, to kind of recap things about Rashod Bateman, first-round pick last season, coming into this year as the number 1 wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens, has only played in 12 games. He missed 5 last year due to injury. And I got to tell you, this is an ongoing theme. I feel like every time I get on the interwebs, I see this story from another outlet by the day. Everybody loves Rashod Bateman, and rightfully so. Look, Rashod Bateman is going to be in an increased role this year, taking over that number 1 receiver spot. With Marquise Brown gone, Sammy Watkins gone, his name is going to be called upon a lot. And what we saw of him last year in those 12 games, you saw those moments. And a former first-round pick, there is reason to be optimistic about Rashod Bateman. I'm going to get to some numbers with Rashod Bateman in just a moment. But here's your chance to show some love. If you think Bateman will have a breakout season in 2022, like the video. Do it. Show some love for Rashod Bateman. If you think this is the year for him to break out, go ahead and like today's video. All right, here's what Bleacher Report had to say in their breakout report about Bateman. Bateman got off to a relatively slow start after he landed on IR while dealing with a groin injury that required surgery. He wasn't activated until mid-October and didn't have his first 100-yard game until December, but he flashed potential as he became more familiar with the offense and the speed of the NFL. Bateman should be back for the task by using his big 6'2", 210-pound frame, huge catch radius, and crisp route running abilities. The wideout will put up big numbers in 2022. His college statistics, 31 games played, you can see, very solid. 19 touchdowns, just under 2,400 yards in the average yards per catch is the thing that stands out there. 16.3 yards per reception there when he was at Minnesota. You can see he's going to be a big threat ability, and there's a lot of reason to be optimistic about what he brings to the table when it comes to size, ability, and showing us those glimpses there at the end of last year for the Baltimore Ravens. And the numbers, when it comes to returning receivers for the Baltimore Ravens this year, it's an inexperienced group. As you can see, Bateman had more yards than anybody last year, and they're going to be all forced to grow together. And besides just those three guys, you also have to factor in none other than Tylan Wallace as well. Look, I got to tell you, this is going to be a better group than people think personally. I like what this group has. Rashod Bateman, going to be a lot of fun to see what he puts together here in 2022. And I got to tell you, all this talk, I know that this is talking season right now, but I have a feeling that Bateman's going to prove it and going to put it all together in one piece. Before we go, if you made it to the end of the video, type flock. That's what we want to do for people that have made it this far. If you've enjoyed today's video and had a great time watching, then go ahead and type flock and let me know in the comment section below if you watched today's video, and type flock, show some love, and we appreciate you joining us.